to another exciting episode of the Orlando World's Sunday Showdown round of 32. This week we look at two attractions from Universal Orlando Resort, with a thrilling Incredible Hulk coaster going head-to-head with the predecessor to the Simpsons ride, Back to the Future. Let's take our usual look at both of these attractions. Sitting aggressively in the skyline of Universal's Islands of Adventure is the unmistakable sight of the Incredible Hulk coaster. Located in the Marvel Superhero Island area of the park, the Incredible Hulk coaster opened with the park on the 27th of May 1999 as the main attraction within the area. The steel launch coaster towers 110 feet in the air and features 104 foot drops and 7 inversions in what is classed as one of the most uniquely designed roller coaster tracks in Florida. The iconic ride design features a 150-foot launch tunnel, which boasts you out the top of the cannon at a speed of 40 miles per hour in under 2 seconds, before reaching top speeds of 67 miles per hour in one of the most powerful coasters in the Universal Orlando Resort. To the Future, the ride was the original simulator ride located in the World Expo area of Universal Studios, which opened almost a year after the park opened, opening on the 1st of May 1991 at a cost of $40 million. Originally, the simulation ride was planned to be a roller coaster ride, but during the design process it was decided it would be too hard to develop a story that would work with a coaster ride. The ride takes rides through the familiar scenes of the franchise, and set the standard for future simulator attractions, with its complex ride system and thrilling ride storytelling. It was a fun and more adult version of the now more common Simpsons ride, which is more light-hearted and less intense than the original. Now let's head into this week's series of rounds and see which attraction advances to the round of 16. Let's head straight to round 1. The Incredible Hulk coaster is themed really well, with its science lab-style theming and the unmistakable iconic green track, with trains which roar with rage as they power their way aggressively around the track. The attraction is heavily themed to Bruce Banner's lab, with lots of equipment and props that are synonymous with the Marvel character. The storyline is based around Bruce trying to reverse the effects of the Hulk's rage, but it all goes a bit wrong, where you are suddenly blasted through the Gamma Core and out into the open world, on board the raging Hulk trains. The iconic track layout, with its vibrant Hulk green colour, add to the overall effect of the ride, which is by all accounts a very powerful and thrilling experience. For a roller coaster ride, it's themed particularly well, and adds a sense of the Hulk's character, leading to the big payoff when on the ride itself. Back to the Future was not as intensely detailed as the attraction which replaced it, the Simpsons ride. But back at the beginning of the 90s, Back to the Future was as futuristic a ride as you were going to get. Throughout the queue and pre-ride areas, the ride was designed to look like the Institute of Technology, where Doc Brown is planning a time travel experiment. The ride car itself is designed to look like the DeLorean car from the film, with the vehicles being used, they were genuine cars which were remodeled to work with the ride system. The story is set as a mini-sequel to the Back to the Future 3 movie, where you have to chase down Biff Tannen through the space-time continuum and stop the experiment. The ride and theme are fun, and for a very early 90s ride, it was a spectacular attraction in its own right. So in round 1, for being a more story-based attraction, Back to the Future takes the first point this week as we head to round 2. The Incredible Hulk has a good ride capacity for a roller coaster. The ride is capable of operating up to 3 trains on the track, with riders sitting in one of 8 cars in each train. Riders are seated in rows of 4, with a vehicle capacity of 32 riders per train. that gives the Incredible Hulk coaster a theoretical early capacity of 1,920 riders per hour. Capacity is decent for this ride, and it gives a decent ride to all guests as each train rages its way around the 3,700-foot track, where 96 people can enjoy the ride as per each ride cycle. Back to the Future had a fairly good ride capacity for a smaller motion simulator ride. The World Expo building, known as the Institute of Technology, was home to two giant theatres with large dome screens where the ride vehicles, designed like the iconic DeLorean cars, were spaced out around the area. Each vehicle sat up to 8 people, in 2 rows of 4, with each arena holding up to 12 cars. This meant that Back to the Future had a fairly impressive early capacity of 2,000 riders per hour, which was good considering the low capacity of vehicles and the overall ride length. Meaning in round 2, Back to Future heads into a 2-point lead going into the third round. The Incredible Hulk has a fairly standard ride duration for a roller coaster. The ride has a brief launch section where each train builds up a raged level at the bottom of a gamma core tunnel, with a rapid burst of pace, firing the train out of the tunnel, sending riders on a frantic ride through the skies. The ride lasts approximately 2 minutes and 15 seconds, where for that entire duration, the ride takes you on a ferocious journey, on one of the most intensely powerful rides in the resort. It does pass quite quickly, with the theme of sheer power ramping up the intensity, making it feel like a fast, frantic sprint to the end, where the Hulk effect wears off to end the ride. Back to the Future was a fairly lengthy attraction overall, with the attraction being seen as a short spin-off to Back to the Future 3. It featured a fairly plausible backstory, which took riders on a journey through the space-time continuum, and on an adventure which lasted over 15 minutes in duration. For the most part, the ride was a thrilling chase through various dioramas, as you venture through various timeline events, often through some of the well-known iconic film scenes. The ride had a good balance of fun, interactive elements, as well as some short scenes which expanded on the story. The attraction didn't feel too long, and was action-packed throughout, making the 15 minutes of ride time perfect for the type of attraction. So in round 3, the Back to the Future ride expands its lead going into the penultimate round. The Incredible Hulk is one of the longest operating roller coasters in Orlando. It's been immensely popular since it opened with the Islands of Adventure Park in 1999, so much so that it closed several years ago for extensive refurbishment and retheming, allowing it continue to operate after already being in service for 21 years. For the last 21 years, the Hulk attraction has been one of the most important attractions within the theme park, and is often seen as the first major attraction to ride as you enter the park. The ride will continue to be as popular over the next several years as it has for the last 2 decades. Back to the Future opened almost 1 year after Universal Studios, and quickly became the marquee attraction of the park with often lengthy wait times. For over 16 years it was extremely popular, but it quickly became a concern for Universal as the film franchise was finished around the time the ride was completed, so after a while, it became less popular. However, the ride accomplished many great things, and opened the door to many new and exciting rides, with the likes of Spider-Man and Transformers taking various aspects from the Back to the Future ride. It is fondly remembered for being a groundbreaking ride at the time, which still operates in the form of the Simpsons ride today. So in round 4, the Incredible Hulk ride claims the point to narrow the gap going into the final round. Let's go straight to round 5. For over 2 decades, the Incredible Hulk coaster has thrilled guests as it roars through the Marvel Superhero Island area. The ride itself is one of the best thrill rides in the resort, with a track laid out to symbolize Hulk on a rampage, with multiple inversions, and a powerful and fast circuit which offers a fiercely wicked ride. Depending on where you choose to ride, impacts on the overall thrill, with brave thrill seekers opting for the front row experience, which adds an extensive amount of hang time as you gain added lift from the sheer power from the front of the train. The Hulk ride is one of the overall best in the resort, and certain is one of the best thrill rides of its generation. Back to the Future offered a very different ride experience. It was one of the first rides to make use of the motion simulation technology, and it pushed the boundaries for theme park entertainment at the time. The ride system was extremely complex, but the results were so impressive that it made the ride feel incredibly realistic, transporting you into the franchise universe like never before. The ride wasn't the most intense, just like the Simpsons ride today, but the enjoyment and excitement factor, coupled with a really enjoyable and fully accustomed theatrical presentation, made the ride a remarkable attraction, which was incredibly popular for over a decade and a half. The ride has plenty of twists and bumps, although it was fairly tame, but the much-loved franchise, the upbeat backstory, and the unforgettable iconic characters made the ride a joy. But in the fifth and final round, for thrill factor, the Incredible Hulk coaster takes the final point to end this week's contest. Which does mean, after all 5 rounds, we do have a decisive winner this week. That does however mean that the rage of the Incredible Hulk peters out, and it leaves the competition at this stage. The ride is a fantastic experience, which is sure to thrill riders for many more years to come. It's a fast, powerful and intense coaster, which packs a serious punch for those who are looking for the ultimate thrill. Back to the Future advances to the round of 16. Join us next week for an interesting contest between former Universal Studios attraction Jaws the Ride and Tomorrowland's TTA. See you next week. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at the Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.